Do you remember Monster House? The movie starts with this innocent Leaf just getting totally violated by this little girl's fucking tricycle. We got to see this little brat riding down the road going la 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 with like no fucking care in the world. She doesn't understand how the weight of the world is going to be crushing her yet. As she's riding down the road, she eventually gets stopped by something around here. And the fucking Leaf goes about a fucking mile away. The Leaf then flies back into her wheel and it just completely gets her stuck into the fucking grass. As she tries to free herself, she hears something ominous opening the door. The door opens to find the ultimate embodiment of a shriveled up prune. It was at this moment that the little girl decided to accept her fate, knowing that she was about to die. This old motherfucker comes out of the house screaming, "Get off my lawn!" Sprinting his way over to this little girl talking about, "You trying to die, bitch?" And she's like, "No." "Get the fuck off my lawn, ho!" The old man takes apart her tricycle like a deranged maniac and leaves the girl crying. As the man is about to walk back into his house, he looks back because he feels a presence. He raises an eyebrow and puts his eyes like daggers towards his unfortunate observer. And who does he see? This bitch ass Poindexter ass motherfucker named DJ, who has supposedly been spying on him for a while. This man be taking notes of every single action this old man does. Like seriously, this guy's got like a whole bunch of notes and pictures and everything. Imagine you're an old man just trying to enjoy your life and you got some 14-year-old kid taking pictures of you and trying to spy on you every day. It couldn't be me, bitch. DJ tries to explain to his mother that something is very wrong across that street with that old man. But his mother, being a normal adult, brushes it off, telling him that he can't be spying on an old man through a telescope. DJ insists that something is going wrong over there to his mother, but she continues to dismiss it. And then, after an extremely awkward bonding segment with his mom's boyfriend, unfortunately see an innocent child get run over by a car. This mask-wearing, basketball-dribbling dipshit just so happens to be DJ's best friend, Chowder. And I gotta say, honestly, I'll say the same thing I said when this movie first came out. This motherfucker is the spitting image of my best friend, Chris. God rest his soul. But anyways, parents make their way to their dentist convention, and DJ is just automatically frustrated at the whole situation. Chowder shrugs off DJ's frustrations, assuring him that it's almost candy time and to not worry about it. The two then decide to play a little bit of basketball with Chowder's new ball. DJ then tells the Chowder that he doesn't think he wants to go trick-or-treating this year. Chowder actively dismisses this idea of skipping Halloween, decides to show off the worst moves I've ever seen in my life. Eventually, tosses the ball into the net thinking he's going to get a score and then hits his own face. This leads to the ball rolling all the way over to the old man's yard, and the two run over to retrieve it. But considering you see a dilapidated house with a sign that says beware, they're having second thoughts about going onto his property, especially with what DJ knows about the old man. Chowder's broke ass then tells us that he paid $28 for that ball and he wants DJ to go get it back for him. And honestly, if I paid $28 for a basketball, I wouldn't care where it landed, I would try to go get it. DJ, seeing that the old man has not come out yet, but also I'm actively not trying to say his name because his name is just crazy, so I'm just going to call him the old man. You can flame me about in the comments all you want, but he goes and retrieves the ball. The old man immediately sees DJ and decides to go on the attack. The old man then grabs onto DJ, yelling things about, "You think you can terrorize my lawn? You think you can fuck my wife?" While Chowder screams for help to no avail. However, after years of stress, the old man pushes himself too far and gives himself a heart attack. It was at this moment something evil started to happen. The ambulance comes to take the old man away, and DJ and Chowder are left mortified. DJ gets an annoying beam of light shined into his fucking eye, and then finds the house key for the house that the old man lives in. DJ starts to view himself as a murderer, and his friend Chowder shrugs it off, saying, "Ah, no, when it's an accident, it's only manslaughter." We are then introduced to the babysitter character known as Elizabeth that the parents have staying to take care of DJ while he's away, which at first glance seems like somebody who is very socially acceptable and very responsible. But then once the parents are gone, she then takes off all that bullshit and becomes her true self, which is some skater punk rock girl named Z. DJ says that he doesn't need her here. He's practically an adult, even though he's never paid a single bill or tax in his entire life. He just sits around all day playing Fortnite. He's supposedly an adult and doesn't need Elizabeth here. Elizabeth proceeds to get back at him by showing that she's the absolute scum of the universe. This showing that she does not give two shits about DJ and is fully willing to lie about him causing trouble just to get her way. DJ decides to retreat upstairs and deal with the depression of seeming that, well, he killed that old man because he thinks he's pretty much 100% responsible for it. And then, after a particularly entertaining nightmare dream sequence, DJ is then awoken out of a sleep hours later by the sound of a ringing phone. DJ picks up the phone only to find himself listening to a bunch of eerie noises and sounds. After he hangs up and the caller comes right back, he decides to star 69 to find out where the call is coming from, in order to give him a taste of their own medicine. It turns out the phone is ringing inside the house of the old man that died. He continues to listen to the ring until he is jump scared by an unknown entity. This unknown entity turns out to be Z's asshole drunken buffoon of a waste of a life boyfriend known as Bones. Great name, by the way. DJ tries to bring them both in on the conspiracy of the ringing phone, only to have Z dismiss it, saying, "Oh wow, you called the neighbors. So great." He didn't tell Z that he didn't call, they called him, and the person that lived in the house died today. Neither of them take him seriously and decide to bully him for it. This grown man then proceeds to sexually assault a stuffed animal, and proceeds to just straight up abuse it. After the two assholes leave, DJ is still not convinced that something very strange is going on with that house and decides to call his friend Chowder for some backup. Downstairs, Z and Bones are talking about an old story about what the old man did to his wife, only to jokingly say he ate her while trying to attack Z and try to get himself a little bit of hanky-panky, which results in completely kick Bones out, saying that he has no respect for women. Bones, now incredibly intoxicated and slightly scorned from his girlfriend Z, decides that he wants to pick a fight with the house and or the spirit of the old man that was living there. He then proceeds to drunkenly taunt the house while stepping on the grass and just ruining all the soil. However, the house is watching from the inside. The house decides that it wants to entice Bones with something special. And this happens to be his awesome red kite that he lost as a kid. He then proceeds to grab the kite only to be sucked off to an unknown fate. DJ decides that he wants to meet Chowder, his friend, at an old construction site. Here we see Chowder playing with a bulldozer for whatever God knows reason. DJ tells Chowder that he is 100% certain that the old man is back from the dead and he is haunting him because he has blood on his hands. And he is recruiting Chowder to help him go into the house and see what's going on. Chowder explains that he will only help him if they manage to go trick-or-treating, to which DJ agrees. The boys head off to investigate the old man's house. Chowder says something to the effect of reasons like this are why no one wants to sit with us at lunch, and decides to get bold and he wants to check things out for himself. This man then proceeds to do the worst army crawl I've ever seen in my entire life, and eventually makes his way up to the old man's porch. And this man, Chowder, starts talking heavy shit. He starts pretending to be the old man, yelling and talking about getting off his lawn and shit. He even makes fun of him having a stroke and dying. This man, Chowder, is a fucking menace. Chowder then decides to ring the doorbell, and that right there is what wakes the house up. Chowder starts shitting himself, knowing in his deep down to his soul that he is truly fucked up. The house then starts to transform and proceeds to attack Chowder. This right here is where the monster house makes its first official appearance, and the boys to run for their mommies. We then awake to next morning where Z, from her drunken slumber, is awoken from a loud doorbell. There we're introduced to our third child main character, Jenny, a I completely lost my train of thought there. A girl from a school who's trying to sell Halloween candy to, quote, get a head start in life. And this little girl is not playing. The whole rest of this scene is left talking about candy, money, and receipts. These people are not fucking playing. Z brings the candy up to the kids, only to find that they have been staying up all night observing the house, taken to even peeing in bottles so they don't have to leave the observation booth. Z then explains to the boys that when Bones left last night, he never came back. The boys then put two and two together and decided the bottle that they found on the ground earlier in the movie belonged to the fucking scumbag boyfriend that may have had something happen to him. Chowder then spots Jenny walking down the street with her little cart full of candy, attempting to sell the rest of it. Then Chowder decides to go full creepo mode, which is something that didn't exist in the 2000s apparently. DJ then proceeds to join him, and now they're both off on Dreamland. The boys then realize that the house that she's going to is the monster house and immediately want to warn her of the danger. The boys go outside and basically beg Jenny to not go near the house, but Jenny doesn't take them any kind of serious at all, literally saying, and I quote, "Are you guys mentally challenged?" But all that shit talking and bravado goes right out the motherfucking door when she turns around to see what's happening. The house then goes full sicko monster mode again, trying to eat the little girl, and the boys attempt to rescue her. The boys do rescue her, but then literally fight over who wants to rescue her more. Boys, am I right? But as soon as Z comes outside to tell DJ that he has a phone call, the house goes back to being completely normal as if nothing happened, leaving Z completely unaware, but Jen completely traumatized. Z, fed up with the kids' nonsense, demands an explanation on what's going on with the house, or else she's going to check it herself. DJ, wanting to protect Z, just says, I'm just going through puberty. I'm just going through lots and lots of puberty. Z takes the explanation, says no more Mountain Dew, and then goes off to locate where Bones went. Jenny, understandably traumatized by the situation, demands an explanation on what's happening. DJ then takes her up to his bedroom where him and Chowder take turns trying to impress her. And I gotta tell you, dude, by modern standards, these guys are kinda creeps, I'm not gonna lie. Jenny, understandably disgusted by these two, decides that she wants to call her mother. While Jenny is downstairs talking to her mom on the phone, DJ and Chowder decide to have the battle of who could be the biggest simp. Since Jen's mom didn't believe her about the house trying to eat her, she decides to join these two, decide to see what's going on with the house, saying that she normally doesn't hang out with guys like this, but because she almost died, she'll give them an hour. Their attention is then drawn to a barking that they find outside. This innocent dog proceeds to get eaten 6 ways from Sunday. The kids, now seeing a dog be murdered by a house, have exhausted all their options and decided to get into local law enforcement, so they call the police. It's at this moment the mission becomes clear, as hundreds of kids are possibly going to be going over to that house to get candy, which can lead to multiple deaths. Chowder dismisses that idea, thinking that only a total idiot would ever go close to the old man's house, but then is proven almost immediately wrong when the house tries to entice him with his lost ball, his $28 ball from before. House dribbles it like a basketball star, leaving behind a grim warning. Afterwards, local law enforcement are finally involved in this situation. I don't really remember who these guys are, so for the sake of the video I'm making, they're going to be Fat Cop and Skinny Cop. They then explain to these nut jobs that there is a creature inside the house that is killing anything that steps onto the lawn. As soon as the Skinny Cop heard that the dog was down, he immediately called in for backup. These guys have 0 brain cells shared between the two of them, bro. The cops then get annoyed at the kids' antics, saying that it's Halloween and they have better things to do. DJ tries his absolute best to trigger the house in order to get a response, but all it does is give the cops a light chuckle. Chowder gets frustrated, which causes him to pick up a rock and throw it at the house, which immediately pisses off the cops, and he tells the kids to get closer to the car. He scolds them, saying how they've wasted enough of their time already, and says that if they mess with this man's house again, they're all going in the hole. Jenny pleads with the cop, asking for help, stating how it's their job to help us, but the cop ignores it and tells them to march. It's adamantly clear that the government's not going to help them and they gotta take matters into their own hands. We then cut to an arcade where we find a sad middle-aged nerd playing alone at an arcade machine, which the kids refer to as Skull. First Skull and now Bones, real creative naming team. The kids state that he's the smartest man on Earth, and if anyone's going to help him defeat the house, it's going to be him. Jen wanting to get his help, the kids dismiss her, saying that you can't mess with him while he's in the game zone. Then Jen says if he's not going to come out of the gaming zone, we're going to go in. To the boys' dramatic dismay. This is when we're fully introduced to Skull, a seemingly just sad middle-aged gaming man that is honestly all of us in human form when it comes to the modern era. They explain the situation to him, and he gives stories based around vengeful spirits that will merge with buildings in order to become horrible monstrosities. What travels he's gone on to learn these things, I have no idea. It sounds to me like he's gone on drug trips. They ask him how they're going to kill the monster, and he says that in order to kill the monster, you have to strike at the source of life, the heart. But this only confuses DJ because houses don't have hearts. The boys and girl head back to the house and decide to formulate a plan on how to kill the house. And DJ makes an observation that as soon as Nevercracker died, yes, that's the first and only time I'm going to say his name, there's smoke coming out of the chimney. We then figure out that the closest thing to the heart we're going to get is the furnace. So the kids formulate a plan to go inside and take it out. They had to build a dummy to knock the house to sleep. And Chowder is completely against this plan, considering he doesn't want to steal cold medicine from his dad. However, when Jen explains that it's literally the best plan possible, Chowder immediately folds, because he's a simp. Later on, the kids complete their sleep medicine dummy and decide to feed it to the house. And their plan was honestly working at first. But then the two cops from before that made them march see what they're doing and put a stop to their actions. The cop then decides that he wants to investigate the dummy and then proceeds to drink the cold medicine that he finds inside the dummy. After he takes a nice cold swig of that medicine and clears his sinuses, he decides enough is enough and it's time to take real serious action. The cop then decides to arrest the three kids. However, after the kids get put into the car, the skinny cop starts to hear noises. Finally, the two cops decide to do something productive and actually investigate the house. The trees then come alive and proceed to attack the cops. This, unfortunately, only leads to their seemingly demise. As quick as they started, the cops are now gone and the house is silent again. However, that silence does not last long, as one of the trees comes to life and starts to smash the car, wanting to eat it. With the kids still inside, mind you. The house then proceeds to munch on the cop car as if it's a fucking nougat chocolate bar with peanuts in it. And this leads the kids to get taken inside to deal with their first actual life and death experience. The kids try their best to escape, but unfortunately the door closes on them. Back inside, the kids that are now trapped decide to assess the situation. Lucky for them, plot armor is a bitch and a half and they still have their water guns with lights, so they're good. The three decide that the situation is as good as it's going to get, and if they don't move, they're going to die, so they decide to split off and look for the heart. There in the house, we find interesting things like a set of dynamite and a pair of binoculars showing that the old man may have possibly been spying back. We then find some pictures in the old man's house explaining a little bit more lore about him, with the first being a wedding photo, a picture of his supposed wife at the beach, and a myriad of other pictures, including one from his supposed time in the military. The three then proceed to attack a random object thinking that it could be the heart, but they couldn't have been more wrong. Turns out that was the house's equivalent to a uvula and they make it throw up. The house then attempts to use a spotlight in order to do a self-diagnosis to find out what, messed with its uvula. The house fortunately fails at finding anything and then starts to relax again. The kids then proceed to go on with their mission, only to have them fall down a dark hole to an unknown part of the house. The kids then find themselves in an underground toy dungeon and then work to find their way out. We then get a little bit more lore about the old man's wife, who we find out is named Constance and is given the nickname the Gigantus. The kids find a cage inside the dungeon, and DJ uses the key that he got from the old man to open the heart-shaped lock. And the kids proceed to go inside. There we find a big woman fully covered in old cement, perceivingly dead. It's then found out that the woman that's covered down here in the cement is his wife Constance, who the kids found after all this time. We didn't see that there's a whole shrine dedicated to Constance, and the story is that he killed and ate his wife, so if that was true, why would there be a shrine? DJ ends up slipping and falling right on top of the concrete shell that Constance is trapped in. The concrete shell then fritters away like broken glass, leaving behind a huge skeleton. The house realizes what's going on and gets super omega pissed. The house then does another self-diagnosis, but this time putting its efforts into the toy dungeon where Constance is, to where the kids try their best to hide. Chowder does his best to hide, but then gets distracted by a familiar sound. That sound is his lost ball, which he goes to retrieve. Turns out the ball was only bait to find out where Chowder was hiding, which he fell for hook, line, and sinker because he gets captured by Slinkies and then taken away. Jenny gets captured by hoses and then gets captured as well. I meant to say cornered first, but you get what I mean. Anyway, DJ escapes and then goes off to go find his friends. They do eventually reunite in the main room where they're about to be eaten. Jenny, obviously not wanting to be eaten out of desperation, jumps onto the monster house's uvula, causing it to be irritated. Her plan works, however, as the monster throws up and spews the kids along with a little bit of water onto the front lawn, thus them being able to escape. Now that the kids are out, Chowder has decided that he is just done with this and is now going home to make a pretzel sandwich, which is one of the dumbest ideas for a sandwich I've ever heard in my life. This leads to the two arguing where Jenny tries to break it up. Jenny tries to defuse the situation, saying how they're just acting like babies, which then DJ then responds with, "We are babies. We tried to put a house to sleep with cold medicine. What were we thinking?" DJ decides that he's just done and is going to give up and go home. This then leads to literally my favorite part of this fucking movie. An ambulance comes out of fucking nowhere and just slams right into him, knocking him down. Fucking hilarious. Coming out of the ambulance, we find the old man, who is supposedly did not die at all. The kids are simply amazed by his revelation, especially DJ, because now it shows that he's not a murderer. The old man is confused by his statement stating, "Who said I was dead?" He then proceeds to give another death threat to these children, but then stops himself as he realizes that it's Halloween and, quote, he is running out of time. Then this man just completely throws caution to the wind, saying, "Honey, I'm home," and then starts to walk towards his wife's house. It's at this point DJ makes the shocking realization that the house itself is possessed by Constance, his dead wife. DJ then tries to plead with the old man to not go over there, saying that he knows about Constance. Then the old man's like, why would you say that? What do you know? You don't know anything about this." He then makes the realization that the kids were in his house and then attempts to attack DJ. Though he's quickly stopped, considering he's been in a hospital for a couple days and he's very weak. It's at this point we are given the full backstory about the old man and his wife. So back in the day, the old man was just a run-of-the-mill guy who liked to go into circus to go see Constance. She was basically just an attraction that you would see at any kind of circus. The only thing attractive about her being in a circus is that she is very overly big. This led to her getting tomatoes thrown at her and just getting bullied for her weight. She then crashed out onto, the crowd and was left in a cage. The old man, seemingly in love, goes to her and tells her that he wants to give her a better life. Constance, overwhelmed with joy at the idea of having a life better than any of the life that she has now, humbly accepts. So the old man attaches her cage to the back of his truck and hauls her away. Basically kidnapping, but we're not gonna, talk about that. There, the old man and Constance decide to start a new life together with their own plot of land, away from the concerning eyes of the public. However, their peace is short-stayed because a couple of weeks later, while they're building their house, Constance is attacked by a group of kids throwing rocks at her. Constance then reports the abuse over to the old man, and he tries to dismiss it, saying that they're just kids trying to have fun. But Constance doesn't care because their rocks have turned to eggs and she turns into an axe-wielding psychopath fully ready to kill these kids for throwing stuff at her house. The old man decides to take the axe out of her arms, but leads to them losing their loss of balance. Jesus Christ, my vocabulary sucks. Anyways, she tumbles and tries to grab onto a lever to support herself, but this leads to, concrete going on top of her, which leads to her demise that we found into the bottom of the house. The man finally finishes the house, but it's stained with a constant reminder of his dead wife. He explains that while her body left the world, her spirit never truly left, and it went inside the house itself. Now, every Halloween, these kids come and throw rocks at eggs at the house, so he has to warn people to stay away. It's at this point in the movie we find out that he doesn't attack people because he hates people or he hates Halloween, but he doesn't want anyone to get hurt by his monster wife house. DJ, now realizing that he's been protecting everyone all these years, it's now DJ's turn to protect him and tells him that he needs to let Constance go. The old man hesitates with this idea, saying that if he lets her go, he'll have no one. And DJ explains that that's simply not true, saying that he has a lot of people that he can count on, and one of them doesn't have to be a house. The old man decides to make the decision to leave the house behind and take DJ's hand. Constance, now fully despising these kids, decides to transform into her full monster mode and attack everyone. The four of them decide to run away, obviously, and the true final battle finally begins. The monster then starts chasing them all across the street, going over fences, knocking down power lines, fucking up cars, and just about everything else. The old man tries to keep up, though with decades of hard living, his stamina isn't what it used to be, and he tells them to leave him behind. This leads the man to be swallowed up to the house to an unknown fate. The kids lead the monster house over to the junkyard where the final battle actually starts to begin. However, the house is momentarily distracted by a brick thrown to the back of its head by an unknown person. We then see that the old man threw the brick and is now pleading with Constance to leave those children alone. However, Constance completely rejects this idea and turns on the old man. As the house seems like it's about to go for the killing blow, the old man just stands there and accepts his fate. However, Constance was talking all that good shit and didn't deliver because all she did was roar in his face. He then tries to sweet talk the house, saying things like, "You've been a bad girl, haven't you?" Which is honestly a crazy thing to hear someone say to a house, even if it's alive or not. The old man then pulls out a stick of a few things of dynamite from his sleeve, showing that, quote, he needs to make things right. Constance, seeing the brick of dynamite, obviously gets very defensive, saying, like, "Bro, you really gonna blow me up? What the fuck's up with that?" But he tries to plead with her, just saying, "I've always done what's best for you, haven't I?" The old man attempts to light the dynamite, but Constance isn't having any of it and grabs him with her tree hand. As the old man is about to be killed by Constance, he is saved by a blinding yellow light. Those blinding lights being the floodlights of, I don't know what the fuck these things are called. I'm not a construction worker. He then uses the machine to start a literal Mortal Kombat level fight with the house, causing it to set the old man free. The old man gives DJ the dynamite, saying that it has to be up to him because the old man is too weak, and DJ somewhat accepts. Meanwhile, Chowder's having himself a little fun 1v1 with this huge ass house, and DJ decides that the best place to put the stick of dynamite would be the chimney, because that's where the heart supposedly is. DJ then comes up with a plan to blow up the house, and he needs Chowder to lower the house over to the crane so he can climb up and throw the dynamite in. Chowder succeeds on getting the house down the hill, which leads to it falling apart into thousands of pieces. Then everybody celebrates, thinking they just got an easy victory, only to find that the house has put themselves back together and they made themselves infinitely worse. While Chowder continues to fight the house one by one, DJ and Jenny decide to climb the crane. The house, however, defeats Chowder and eats his big ass truck, leaving him ultimately defenseless. It's now time for DJ to climb onto the crane and throw the dynamite into the house, but he has second thoughts considering how high it is. Jen reassures him that he's strong, brave, and can do this, and even gives him a small kiss to try to give him a little bit more confidence. DJ, now fueled by the power of the P word, has all the stuff he needs to complete his mission. DJ gives the dynamite to Jenny and tells her to strike the match and to get ready. She manages to get the dynamite lit and then tries to hand it to DJ, only to fall down a part of the crane, leaving her with the dynamite on her own. But it's at this moment she realized that she wasn't the main character, at least not the real main one, and decided to pull off the most craziest throw in cartoon history. So after she throws the dynamite with the luck of an all-out 10 D&D character for nothing but luck and bullshit, DJ is finally able to throw the dynamite into the chimney, ending the house's life once and for all. This led to a pretty awesome explosion, as you can see. An explosion so powerful it lights up the whole neighborhood and almost topples the crane itself. After the house is destroyed and the dust starts to settle, DJ searches for the old man. We didn't see the old man dancing with the freed spirit of Constance, who is no longer trapped in the house. And it was at that moment that the old man and Constance were finally at peace. He then says after 45 years of hardship and torment that they are finally free. He then gives DJ probably the most heartfelt hug he's probably given anybody in multiple decades, symbolizing that they are now free. Later on during Halloween, people come to the now destroyed house to find not candy, but a bunch of their old toys that they had found missing over the years. We're then reunited with the girl from the start that lost her tricycle. She asked what happened to the house. DJ said it turned into a monster and I blew it up. And she doesn't care, so she just says trick or treat. The little girl is then reignited with her bicycle or tricycle, whatever the fuck it's called, and all is well with the world. Jenny gives her goodbyes to DJ and Chowder, stating, "We should hang out again sometime." Chowder manages to get his $28 ball back with his broke ass, and DJ's parents finally come back from their trip. The mother questions them on why they're covered in soot, and they just say simply they were being pirates or something. The two then make the realization that maybe trick-or-treating and Halloween is for little kids, and they need to just move on from it. However, that's quickly dismissed as he tells Chowder that they've been working all night and they probably deserve a break. So he turns himself out of something that comes out of the fucking Addams Family. Then our heroes head out to go enjoy Halloween to the fullest extent. What a couple of bitches. The very last thing we see is Bones pulling himself out of the smoked wreck, looking around to see just what the fuck happened to me. Also, during the credits, we find that the policeman survived too. So that's pretty cool. And then, a part of this movie that I do not remember actually happening, Skull ends up bagging Z over Bones. Jesus Christ, bro. Love is blind. The very last thing we see in the movie is the dog from earlier that got eaten piss inside the jack-o'-lantern to extinguish it. And that's the end of Monster House. All in all, this movie is a classic, and I was really honored to make a video on this for my channel. Now, I put up a poll saying y'all wanted to do Monster House or Scary Godmother. Y'all chose Monster House, so I hope y'all watch this on Halloween. Y'all are enjoying it. This was a true honor to make. And honestly, I love that I can go back and watch these old movies from time to time and just see where we've come in terms of like culture and stuff like that. But I really hope this video serves as a reminder of how great Monster House was. And I never do this, but could y'all hit the like button and subscribe? Because I spent the last hour and a half sitting in my chair recording this shit. So, yeah, maybe throw me a bone. I'm not kidding this time. Do it. No, I'm just playing. But, anyways, thank you for joining me. My name is Lord Dragonfire, and this was Do You Remember Monster House? Get ready for my Halloween stream coming up here in a little bit. Happy Halloween. Hope y'all enjoy it. Hope y'all got some candy. All in all, thank you so much for watching my channel. If you made it this far, you're truly awesome. See y'all in the next video. Peace out.